Good evening. Thank you for joining me on day 3 of the 49th Toronto International Film Festival. I'm Robyn Citizen, Director of Programming for Festival and Cinematech here at TIFF, and I am thrilled to present the world premiere of Daniel Minahan's On Swift Horses. We're pleased to present this film at the Visa Screening Room at the Princess of Wales Theatre and thank Visa for making this possible. A sincere thank you to our presenting sponsor, Rogers, and our major sponsors, RBC and Visa, for their continued support. We would like to thank our government supporters, the Government of Ontario, Telefilm Canada, and the City of Toronto. The Special Presentations program is made possible through the generous sponsorship of TikTok, and the program is recognized for celebrating the very best of contemporary cinema across all genres and styles from all corners of the world. The section showcases high-profile premieres and the world's leading filmmakers, like the film you will watch tonight. This film is eligible for the People's Choice Award presented by Rogers. Please remember to vote for your favorite films at tiff.net/vote. We want to thank Black Bear International and UTA Independent Film Group for providing us with this film. Daniel Minahan is a writer and director who co-wrote the screenplay for a generation-defining film, I Shot Andy Warhol, in 1996. He's directed American Crime Story, The Assassination of Gianni Versace, and Halston. His latest film, On Swift Horses, is based on the acclaimed novel by Shannon Poufal. It follows newlywed Muriel and her husband Lee, who leave her family home in Kansas to put down roots in a California suburb. When Lee's troubled brother-in-law Julius comes to visit back from the war, he and Muriel recognize in each other a restlessness, a fondness for risk, and desires rarely discussed in 1950s America. Anchored by fiercely beautiful performances from leads Daisy Edgar-Jones and Jacob Elordi, and supported by heartbreaking turns from Will Poulter and Diego Calva, director Daniel Minahan crafts a story that is simultaneously lyrical, dreamy, and filled with incredible tension and aching loss. So please help me welcome to the stage director Daniel Minahan.
Robyn, thank you. I'm going to read, sorry. First, Robyn, I'd like to thank Robyn, the TIFF programmers, for including us in this year's lineup. It's a dream for us to premiere our film at this remarkable festival on this weekend in this theater. Before we screen, there's some people I'd like to introduce you to. And to start at the very beginning, Shannon Poufal, who's here with us tonight. When I read Shannon's novel On Swift Horses, it spoke to me in a very personal way. It's sweeping, epic, and intimate all at once. It made me feel drunk with love in a world full of possibilities. It's set against the sprawling backdrop of the American West during the Eisenhower era, and her novel evokes the feeling of young love that's exciting, questioning, impulsive, and refusing to be defined. Peter Spears, who's with us tonight, my producing partner, felt exactly the same way. And we felt compelled to make this film, and thankfully, Shannon entrusted us with adapting her novel. A village of financiers and producers stepped up to support us, headed by Tim Headington and Teresa Page from Leyline. Mike D'Alto, Molly Asher, and the team from First Gen Content. And Jennifer Westphal and Joe Plummer from Wavelength. There are some very important people here from our creative team that I'd like to introduce. The gentleman cinematographer, Luc Montpellier, who shot our film. Our magical production designer, Aaron McGill. the amazing hair designer Melissa Yonke, who made everyone look so great. Lauren Kramar is with us, who recorded some beautiful songs for us. Our brilliant casting director, Laura Rosenthal, and my close collaborator and shorthand, our screenwriter, Bryce Cass. I'm so grateful to have our accomplished cast with us here tonight, including Sasha Calle in the role of Sandra, Diego Calva as Henry, Will Poulter as Lee, Jacob Elordi as our hero Julius, and Daisy Edgar-Jones, who plays our heroine Muriel. They'll all be joining us for a Q&A after the screening, so please stay with us. Making this film was truly a labor of love. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
Please help me welcome the team from On Swift Horses, director Daniel Minahan. Daisy Edgar-Jones. Jacob Elordi. Will Poulter. Diego Calva. And Sasha Calle. Thanks for joining us. I'd like to start with you, Daniel.
Okay.
Previously, you wrote the screenplay for a film that Mary Herron directed.
That's right.
You wrote the screenplay for your own directorial debut. So what was your experience directing a film that you adapt and you didn't write? And also coming to direct a film so many years after directing so many acclaimed series?
Well, I guess I always pursue projects through the writer. You know, when I worked in series, I went after the best writers. And when Peter and I started looking at writers for this project, I had someone in mind, Bryce Cass, who I'd known and read and really admired. And once again, I went after the writer.
Daisy.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, that's loud.
Muriel and Julius have immediate chemistry, although the nature of that chemistry is not clear to us at first. Did you have to work to build this rapport that immediately comes across on screen? And actually, there's chemistry between all of you in the cast, so this question can go to all of you as well.
First of all, it's just been such a pleasure to watch this film on this big screen. It's the first time I've seen it on a big screen, and I've never been to TIFF before, so it's great to be here. Thank you. I mean, I think it's not hard to make chemistry with Jacob because he's just so charismatic. And honestly, filming these scenes, and I think the interpersonal dynamics of them and the relationships between them, they're all so subtle and smart. And I think what I loved about this script was it felt almost like reading poetry. And so much of what happens is in the subtext. So I think the way Dan filmed it, the way he allowed space for us to get to know each other and to play, and all of Jacob and I's early scenes in the film we shot first, which was great because so much of I think you called it the invisible thread, that really drives, I think, the story is this sort of across the country connection that they have. So yeah, we were very lucky that we got to film those scenes first.
Jacob?
Hello.
Same question.
Same question. Hello, Toronto. I mean, I'm just going to echo a similar sentiment. I mean, when you work with somebody like Daisy, it is kind of immediately there because she gives herself to the work kind of entirely. And I had to audition for the film with Dan and Daisy, and it was more like a workshop. and we danced and did cards, and it was pretty clear immediately in that moment that we were going to be able to find that connection because she's such an open performer, and Dan gave us like such a space to play. Yeah, you know, it's like a great script with dialogue, great director, great actors. You know, you can't really ask for much more. And the same goes for everyone else.
And it wasn't an audition. I love that you thought it was.
They made it feel like one.
So before I turn it over to the audience, you mentioned this does have such a dreamy look to it, and it's gorgeously shot. So can you talk a little bit about the cinematography and how you got the look of the film?
Well, I was lucky enough to enlist Luc Montpellier, a local cinematographer here. When we set out to create we were talking about what we wanted the film to look like, and we made a decision that rather than watch a lot of films from the period or watch films that we thought were an influence, we looked at paintings, we looked at photography. We looked at the photography of Gordon Parks from the period, a journalist. We looked at the photography of Bruce Davidson, who photographed a lot of gangs, and the paintings of John Koch. Was this incredible painter that I had been aware of, and Luke brought me his images, and it absolutely, when you see his paintings, you'll understand. So that was kind of how we came to the look. What we wanted to do was to put the emotion of the scenes first, rather than imitating other films that we'd seen. So that's what we set out to do.
It worked. I'm going to unleash it to the audience for questions. Yes, in the front. How long did it take to make this movie?
Well, we actually started it during lockdown. Peter Spears and I both read this book, fell in love with it immediately, started talking to Shannon Pufol, the author, and then enlisted Bryce Cass. And once lockdown was over, I went back to work and we started on the script. So I'd say it was about 3.5 to 4 years in total. Yeah.
Yes, right there. Yes, you. So this film has such a unique perspective on queer experiences in the 50s. Can you talk a little bit about some of those decisions that you made to avoid the queer stereotypes?
Yeah, I was thinking of this as a reimagining of the American dream, except through a queer lens. And we wanted to, well, the thing that was remarkable about the novel is it doesn't portray these people as tragic characters. So we made a story about people who are hiding themselves, people who are watching, people who are exploring and trying to find themselves, and they end up connecting. So, I think that's the thing that you're asking. It's a different ending. It's not a tragic ending to the story. It ends on a note of hope, and that was important to us all along.
I'd like to extend that question to Diego and Sasha, because you're playing characters at the same time that are a bit more open in your sexuality, and I just want to know how you got into these roles and how you kind of performed being part of the fallout of Muriel and Julius's choices.
Well, I think it's so beautiful. This movie is just, it's just about love, right? Yeah, woo, for sure. And I think it's important to just feel that, right? Whoever that may be, wherever it takes you. I think it's important to feel that and to feel safe in it. And I think that Dan always made us feel incredibly safe in feeling all of those things.
And I think it's also a movie about identity, and to be brave enough to find and follow, pursue your own path. And I think we all can connect with that and relate with that. Love.
Woo! Woo! You! Woo!
I want to get somebody in the balcony, if I can see you. I cannot. Okay, right there. Sorry, right there. Yeah. Each of the characters goes through a self-discovery journey. I would like to hear what you learned about yourself while making the film.
That's a lovely question. Yeah, it really is a journey of self-discovery. And I think every job you do, you learn a lot about yourself. And so definitely this film taught me so much. I think, in particular, I think what I really took from Muriel is her small moments of rebellion, the things she takes back, like spitting out the pit and the way that she tests her hair and tries on different ways to be. And I think that's something that I really stayed with me of you know, all the ways in which you can express yourself physically in the ways you dress and pursuing your desires in a way that feels hopeful and excited. Yeah, I think that's kind of what I took from her.
I got to be a cowboy. Yeah, no, really. I mean, I felt we spoke a lot about Kerouac and things like that, and I got the closest to being a kind of, you know, road warrior. Like I got to live in shitty motels and wear great leather jackets, and I felt the closest to American freedom that I think I'll ever feel as an Australian.
The experience of playing lead definitely, I think, allowed me to take kind of stock of all the things I can, you know, potentially take for granted. Freedom to express yourself or live authentically, you know, is something that I think it always bears reminding folks that that's not afforded to everybody. And so, you know, Lee got that reminder in a way that was very obviously kind of like close to home and you know, literally in the form of his own kind of like flesh and blood. And so I took stock of that, and it's always a privilege when you get to work, you know, with material of this quality, with actors and a director as incredible as Dan is. You actually get to, you know, take a life lesson from the material and apply it. That's a rare thing.
Well, for me, it's a dialogue in the movie when Henry says to Julius, like, look at me and look at you. We are not the same. I saw it today for the first time in the big screen. It's still like really loaded in a way, but I think I learned that it's different now in a way. And that's really cool. But for me, it's that line. So that line that is between two guys that are in love, but in the end, there is like a barrier, you know, like a wall between them. And it's still there, but at the same time, love is more powerful. Such a great Q&A, guys. Sorry.
Well said.
I mean, I feel very close to Sandra. You know, I think we both love music and women. I remember reading the sides, and I auditioned for the film, and for some reason, I didn't know who was attached. And I was like, oh, this character is so much older, this is not me. And then I got a call, and they were like, oh, you have to chemistry read with Daisy. And I was like, okay, I must read the script now. I was so afraid because I fell in love with the sides. I loved the sides so much. And then I read the script, and I was like, Dan, I have to be the one. And then I was so lucky, you know, to work with this talented group of people. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. I don't think anybody can follow Sasha. So I just want to say it's a gorgeous film, and it's filled with fearless performances. Thank you so much for sharing it with Toronto audiences.
Thank you.
Thank you for your questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.